The fire becomes light. Who is a guru? A guru is not merely a teacher of words. A guru is the one who removes darkness, not by giving answers, but by awakening the one who is seeking. A guru is a mirror in which the disciple sees the self. A guru is silence that speaks louder than scriptures. A guru is fire that burns ignorance and becomes light within the disciple. Who is the real guru? The real guru is not the body, not the name, not the form. The real guru is consciousness, guiding consciousness. When Krishna guided Arjuna, it was not a man teaching another man. It was truth reminding itself. When Gautam Buddha sat in silence, he did not teach, he radiated awareness. When Jesus Christ spoke in parables, he was not giving stories, he was awakening hearts. The guru appears outside only to awaken the guru within. Qualities of a guru. A true guru does not seek followers but creates seekers, does not control but frees, does not impress but transforms, lives in simplicity but radiates infinite depth, speaks less but every word becomes experience. A guru carries no ego of I teach because the guru knows truth alone teaches. How does a guru choose a disciple? A disciple is not chosen by words but by readiness. The guru does not see your knowledge but your emptiness, not your intelligence but your sincerity, not your achievements but your hunger for truth. When the disciple is ready, the guru appears not as a coincidence but as a divine alignment. Why is Guru Parampara important? Because truth is subtle. It cannot be fully written. It must be lived and transmitted, like a flame lighting another flame. From guru to disciple, from awareness to awareness, this living flow is called Guru Parampara. It keeps truth alive, not as a memory, but as experience. Why is a guru strict and disciplined? Because the mind is restless, because illusions are sweet, because the ego resists truth. A guru's strictness is not anger, it is a compassion in a sharp form, like a sculptor hitting stone. Every strike looks harsh but reveals the hidden beauty. What does a guru expect from a disciple? Not worship, not blind belief. A guru expects trust, patience, consistency, surrender of ego, courage to see truth. The guru does not want you to depend but to realize. Why does a guru test? Because words are easy, but truth must be lived. A guru tests to see, will you stay when it is difficult? Will you trust when you don't understand? Will you stand in truth when illusions pull you? Like Nachiketa who stood before death, or like Kabir who broke all norms. The disciple is tested not to fail but to become unshakable. A simple story. A disciple once asked his guru, "Why don't you give me enlightenment?" The guru smiled and said, "If I give it to you, it will be mine. If you discover it, it will be yours." Another reflection. A river asked the ocean, "How do I become you?" The ocean replied, "Lose yourself and you will know. You were never separate. A guru is that ocean." The final message. Do not search for a guru outside in desperation. Prepare yourself within. Become silent, become sincere, become aware, and life itself will become your guru. Because ultimately, the guru, the disciple, and the path all are one consciousness, playing the game of remembrance. A quote. Guru is not a person to follow. Guru is the light that dissolves the follower. When the seeker disappears, only truth remains. The fire becomes light. Wisdom of the light. One consciousness. Many lamps. Religion was never born to divide the sky. It was born to help human beings understand light. Different lands, different languages, different clothes, different prayers, different temples, churches, mosques and monasteries. Yet the human tears are the same. The human smile is the same. The human heart is the same. The sun does not ask religion before giving light. The rain does not ask caste before falling. The wind does not ask belief before touching a face. Existence itself teaches unity silently. The wisdom hidden in religions. Hinduism teaches the divine lives in all beings. The soul is eternal. Life is interconnected. Truth may be approached through many paths. From the Upanishads comes the whisper, Tattvamasi, thou art that, Aham Brahmasmi. Buddhism teaches awareness, compassion, mindfulness, freedom from suffering. Buddha did not ask humanity to blindly believe. He asked humanity to awaken. Christianity teaches love, forgiveness, compassion, sacrifice. Jesus taught, love thy neighbor, not merely as a rule, but as transformation of the heart. Islam teaches surrender to the divine, discipline, charity, mercy, equality before God. The word Islam itself carries the fragrance of peace and surrender. Sikhism teaches service, equality, courage, devotion, honest living. Langar itself is a living teaching. Sit together, eat together, humanity is one. Jainism teaches non-violence not only in action but also in thought and speech. Ahimsa becomes inner refinement. Sufism teaches divine love dissolves separation. The lover and the beloved are one dance of consciousness. What happens when religion loses wisdom? When ego enters the religion, people begin protecting labels more than truth. Then arguments begin. My path alone, my God alone, my scripture alone. But wisdom does not insult another lamp because it shines differently. A truly spiritual person does not become hateful. They become more compassionate, more humble and more understanding. Accept without judgment. Acceptance does not mean blind agreement with every human action. It means respecting the sincere search for truth in different forms. Do not insult good teachings merely because they wear different clothes. The language of prayer may differ, but the longing for peace is universal. A small story. The lamp. A child once asked a sage, which religion is true? The sage lit many lamps in a dark room. One lamp was golden, one was silver, one was clay, one was crystal. The child said, the lamps are different. The sage smiled gently, but the light is the same. Prose poem. One consciousness. The river does not fight the ocean about which path is right. The clouds do not argue before becoming rain. The flute, the bell, the temple chant, the church choir, the azan at dawn, the monk in silence, a mother folding hands before a lamp, all are humanity searching for meaning. Consciousness, breathing through many names, the stars above do not divide themselves, only human thought divides the sky. When the heart becomes pure, wisdom begins seeing unity hidden in diversity. Quotes. Wisdom of the light. Different religions are like different windows opening towards the same sky. The wise do not insult sincere prayer spoken in another language. The purpose of religion was never hatred, it was transformation. One consciousness breathes through every race, nation and faith. The lamp may differ, the light remains the same. Spiritual maturity begins when respect becomes larger than ego. A pure heart sees humanity before labels. Truth does not become smaller because another path also carries goodness. The fire becomes light. When religion becomes wisdom, the heart softens. When wisdom becomes awareness, division begins dissolving. Then humanity slowly remembers we are many waves, yet one ocean of consciousness. The fire becomes light. The seeker who walked on water. In a quiet village near a wide flowing river lived a seeker named Devan. From childhood, he had heard stories of great yogis who possessed extraordinary powers. The ability to read minds, remain without food for days, float in the air, and even walk upon water. These stories fascinated him deeply. He thought, if I attain such powers, the world will know I am spiritually Mahan and great. So he left home early and entered the forest and mountains in search of secret mantras and disciplines. For years he practiced severe austerities. He sat in cold rivers, he fasted for weeks, he repeated mantras thousands of times daily. He learned breath control and intense concentration. Slowly his mind became extremely focused. But hidden beneath all his spiritual practice was a subtle desire. He wanted to become extraordinary. 20 long years passed. One dawn, while standing before the river, he finally discovered he could walk upon the waters without sinking. His heart overflowed with pride and excitement. At last, he cried, I have attained Siddhi. Villagers gathered in amazement. Some bowed before him, others whispered, he must be a great saint. Devin enjoyed every moment. That same day, an old wandering sadhu arrived near the river bank carrying only a small cloth bag and a wooden staff. The river was deep, so the sadhu sat patiently, waiting for a boatman. Devin noticed him and laughed proudly. Old sadhu, he said, you have spent your life in spirituality and still wait helplessly for a boat? The villagers became silent. Devin walked dramatically over the water and returned. Look, he declared, I can walk across the river itself. What have your years of spirituality given you? The old sadhu looked at him with calm, compassionate eyes and softly asked, how many years did it take for you to learn this? Devin lifted his head proudly. 20 years of intense tapasya. The sadhu smiled gently. My child, the boatman has asked only 20 rupees to take a person across. The villagers burst into thoughtful silence. The sadhu continued, you spent 20 precious years of human life to save 20 rupees? Devin's smile slowly faded. The old sadhu sat beside him and spoke further. The purpose of spiritual life is not to impress the world with powers. It is to cross the river of ignorance, ego, anger, greed, fear and suffering. He pointed towards the river. Walking on water may amaze people for a moment, but can you walk peacefully through insult? Can you cross anger without drowning? Can you remain loving when hated? Can you stay humble while praised? That is the real Siddhi. The wind became still. For the first time in 20 years, Devin felt something break within himself. Not his concentration, but his pride, his ego. Tears filled his eyes. All these years, he had mastered water, yet never mastered his ego. He had conquered a river outside, but not the storm within. The old sadhu quietly boarded the small boat when it arrived. Before leaving, he smiled and said, the greatest miracle is not walking on water, my child. It is walking gently upon the earth. The boat slowly disappeared into the golden mist, and that day, Devin began true spirituality for the very first time. Essence of the story. The story teaches that spiritual powers or siddhis are not the ultimate goal of life. Human beings often become distracted by fame, abilities, recognition, superiority and miracles. But true spirituality asks, are you peaceful? Are you compassionate? Are you free from ego? Do you create harmony? Do you live with awareness? A person may impress thousands externally while remaining internally restless. The real purpose of wisdom is not performance, it is transformation. A quote, the greatest spiritual power is not to walk on water, but to walk through life without drowning in ego. Message, human life is precious. Do not spend it merrily trying to become extraordinary in the eyes of others. The true miracle is a peaceful mind, a compassionate heart, humility during success, and harmony within oneself and with the world. Cross not merrily rivers outside, cross the ignorance within. The fire becomes light, the mirror and the divine. In the gentle language of Sufism, the human being is a mirror, not a mirror that shows a face, but a mirror that reflects the divine presence. God does not stand outside and look at you. God sees through you. Your awareness is that mirror. But what happens when the mirror is covered with desires, with attachments, with identity? Then the reflection becomes blurred. Detachment, not leaving but seeing clearly. Sufism does not ask you to run away from life. It says, live with family, work in the world, experience relationships, but do not cling. Hold everything like open palms, not closed fists, because nothing is yours, nothing belongs to you. Everything is passing. To give back all does not mean to abandon. It means not to bind your identity to anything. Die before dying. the real freedom. To die before death is to let the ego dissolve, to stop calling yourself a limited drop, to stop holding on to temporary roles, because in truth, you are not a drop of consciousness, you are the entire ocean experiencing itself. When this is seen, attachment loosens, fear disappears. A Sufi story, Rumi and the Dream of a King. A disciple once came to Rumi and said, I dreamt I was a great king, powerful, respected, and surrounded by wealth. Rumi smiled and asked, Tell me, when you woke up, where is that kingdom? The disciple said, It vanished. Rumi replied, Then understand, this waking life you now cling to will vanish the same way. The disciple stood silent. Rumi continued, Live like a king if life gives you a throne, but do not become the throne. Let every role pass through you, like a dream through sleep. That day, the disciple understood, pain comes not from living, but from holding. The essence in one breath. Be in the world, but not owned by it. Experience everything, but cling to nothing. Let every moment arise and dissolve, like a mirror that reflects but never holds. A short Sufi prose poem. I was a mirror covered with names, roles, relationships and dreams. I wiped one layer, then another, until nothing remained to call mine. And in that empty clarity, I need not see myself. I saw only light, not entering, not leaving, just being. A message: do not fight life, do not escape life. Simply see through it. Let every experience come and go. Do not carry yesterday into today. Do not bind tomorrow with fear. Be like the mirror, reflect, experience and release, and remain clear, silent and aware. The quote. Be the mirror that holds nothing, for only an empty mirror reflects the infinite. Lose what you call I and become what always is. The small I, the breath of truth. A disciple once asked Rumi, How can this I die? Rumi did not give a long answer. He gave a simple seeing. He said, Watch your breath. The practice of seeing, inhale and feel the Al-Haq, the truth breathes. Exhale and feel Al-Haq, the truth flows. Not I breathe, but breath happens. Not I live, but life lives itself. The deeper understanding, look closely. The heart beats not by your command. Blood flows without your decision. Digestion happens without your effort. Thoughts arise without your invitation. Memory appears without your control. Then who is this I that claims I do? All is one functioning. The breath is Al-Haq, the heartbeat is Al-Haq, the hunger, the thought, all are moments of one presence. The body is an instrument, the mind is a field, the light is the doer, the fire and the light. The small I is like fire. It burns with identity. It burns with ownership. It burns with separation. This fire creates I am this, I am that, and this is mine. But when the fire is seen clearly, when awareness watches it without feeding it, the fire begins to purify, not destroy but transform. Fire becomes light when ego burns completely. The smoke disappears, the noise dissolves, the heat becomes clarity, and what remains is pure light. The moment of rebirth, that moment is not an ending, it is a rebirth, like a child innocent, like a flame, pure like space, untouched. No past, no identity, no burden, only presence. The truth of the small I never truly dies. It simply dissolves into its source, like a wave returning to the ocean. And then you realize there was never a separate I. There was only one, the ultimate supreme one. A message: do not try to kill the I with force. Simply watch, breathe and be aware. Let every breath remind you, you are not the doer. You are not the witnessing light. Allow the fire to burn in awareness until it becomes light. And in that light, live simply, love freely, and exist silently. Quote, when the small I stops claiming the breath, the eternal begins to shine as life itself. Let the fire of ego burn in awareness until only light remains. The fire becomes light. The inner Ramayana. Characters as mirrors of consciousness. The Ramayana is not merely an ancient story. It is a psychological, emotional, moral, and spiritual map of human consciousness. Every character represents a quality, a struggle, a lesson, an inner emotion, or a stage of awakening. The Ramayana lives within every human being. Ahilya and Rama. Ahilya was turned into stone because of deception and curse. When Rama's feet touched the stone, she regained life and liberation. Significance: Ahilya symbolizes consciousness turned numb by ignorance, guilt, suffering, emotional deadness. Rama symbolizes awakening awareness. The touch of truth revives frozen consciousness. The lesson: human beings become emotionally stone-like through pain, ego, illusion, trauma, and wrong actions. Awareness, compassion, and truth awaken life again. Inner integration: awaken the sleeping sensitivity within yourself. Shabari and Rama. Shabari, an old devotee, waited years for Rama. She offered berries after tasting them first to ensure its sweetness. Significance: Shabari symbolizes pure devotion, patience, innocent love. Rama accepted her devotion because love matters more than ritual perfection. Lesson: God or truth responds to sincerity, not status. Inner integration: develop simplicity, patience, and heartfelt devotion. Rama and Lakshmana. Lakshmana left comforts and followed Rama into exile with complete loyalty. Significance: Lakshmana represents discipline, alertness, selfless service, and protective intelligence and sacrifice. Lesson: wisdom requires disciplined support from the mind and senses. Inner integration: control emotional impulsiveness and stay aligned with higher principles. Dashratha, Kaikeyi, and Rama. Kaikeyi demanded Rama's exile due to manipulation and insecurity. Dashratha suffered deeply. Significance: Dashratha symbolizes attachment. Kaikeyi symbolizes emotional manipulation influenced by fear and ego. Rama symbolizes acceptance of dharma despite pain. Lesson: even love becomes destructive when clouded by insecurity and selfish influence. Inner integration: learn emotional maturity, detachment, responsibility, and calm acceptance. Rama and Bharata. Bharata refused to sit on the throne meant for Rama and ruled only as Rama's representative. Significance: Bharata symbolizes humility, loyalty, egoless love, righteousness. Lesson: true love does not seek power through betrayal. The inner integration: serve truth even when selfish gain is possible. Rama and Sita. Sita followed Rama into exile and endured suffering with dignity. The significance: Sita symbolizes purity, inner strength, sacred feminine consciousness, endurance, and grace. Rama and Sita together symbolize balance between wisdom and compassion. Lesson: true relationships survive hardships through trust, dignity, and sacrifice. Inner integration: balance strength with tenderness. Lakshmana and Urmila. While Lakshmana accompanied Rama, Urmila silently sacrificed years of companionship. The significance: Urmila symbolizes silent sacrifice, often unnoticed by the world. The lesson: many great acts are supported by invisible suffering and quiet strength. Inner integration: respect unseen sacrifices made by others. Rama and Vali. Vali misused power and oppressed Sugriva. Rama killed Vali to restore justice. Significance: Vali symbolizes uncontrolled strength, ego, misuse of power. Lesson: power without ethics destroys harmony. Inner integration: use strength responsibly. Rama and Sugriva. Rama helped Sugriva regain justice and friendship. Significance: Sugriva symbolizes the frightened, displaced aspect of consciousness needing support. Lesson: friendship and cooperation restore courage. Inner integration: seek good company and righteous alliances. Rama and Ravana. Ravana, though brilliant and powerful, was consumed by ego and desire. The significance: Ravana symbolizes intellect without humility, ego, uncontrolled desire, domination, pride. Rama symbolizes balanced consciousness. Lesson: knowledge alone is insufficient without wisdom and humility. Inner integration: defeat inner Ravana, anger, greed, arrogance and possessiveness. Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna knew Ravana was wrong, yet fought beside him out of loyalty. Significance: Kumbhakarna symbolizes sleeping awareness, moral compromise, ignorance despite understanding. Lesson: knowing truth but not acting upon it creates suffering. Inner integration: awaken from inner laziness and moral sleep. Rama and Vibhishana. Vibhishana left Ravana and joined Rama because he chose dharma over family attachment. Significance: Vibhishana symbolizes moral courage, choosing truth over emotional attachment. Lesson: truth sometimes requires standing against one's own environment. Inner integration: choose integrity even when difficult. Rama and Hanuman story. Hanuman became Rama's greatest devotee and servant. Significance: Hanuman symbolizes devotion, strength, humility, faith, selfless service, focused mind. Hanuman's power came from surrender, not ego. Lesson: the ego says, I am powerful. Devotion says, I serve truth. Inner integration unites strength and humility. The inner meaning of Ramayana: every character exists within human consciousness. Within one human being lives Rama and Ravana, Sita and Kaikai, Hanuman and Kumbhakarna, Bharata and Vali. The Ramayana teaches life is an inner battle between harmony and chaos. The goal is not merely to worship characters externally. The goal is to recognize them within oneself, understand their consequences, and integrate higher qualities consciously. Seek Rama's balance, Sita's purity, Hanuman's devotion, Bharata's humility, Lakshmana's discipline, Vibhishana's courage, Shabari's love, and avoid Ravana's ego, Kaikai's insecurity, Vali's misuse of power, and Kumbhakarna's sleeping awareness. Final understanding: the Ramayana is consciousness teaching humanity through symbolic roles. Every relationship, every emotion, every conflict, every sacrifice, and every victory exists to guide consciousness towards harmony. The true Ayodhya is inner peace. The true Lanka is ego-driven confusion, and the bridge between them is awareness. A quote: the Ramayana is not only the story of Rama, it is the map of human consciousness, learning to move from ego towards harmony, devotion, wisdom, and truth. Message: study the characters of life carefully. Every person and every relationship reflects some aspect of consciousness itself. The purpose of wisdom is not merely storytelling, but self-integration, transforming the inner world into a kingdom governed by truth, compassion, balance, and awareness. The real victory of Rama happens when goodness begins ruling within oneself. The fire becomes light. Krishna consciousness, ritual, devotion, and true awakening. Krishna is not merely a deity outside the human being. Krishna symbolizes awakened consciousness, living joyfully, wisely, lovingly, and fully aware within creation. To seek Krishna ultimately means to seek the awakened state hidden within oneself. All stories, bhajans, rituals, temples, pilgrimages, scriptures, satsangs, and devotion are tools created to help consciousness remember its own divine nature. But the outer practices become meaningful only when they awaken inner transformation. Sandipani Rishi. Sandipani Rishi was Krishna's guru. Even Krishna entered the discipline of learning. Significance: Sandipani symbolizes humility before wisdom, disciplined learning, respect for knowledge. The Guru principle: Krishna, studying under a guru, teaches no human being rises without learning, discipline, and guidance. Inner integration: to awaken, the ego must become teachable, intelligence must become humble, and wisdom must become livid. Sudama. Sudama was Krishna's poor childhood friend. He came to Krishna carrying simple beaten rice with hesitation and humility. Krishna welcomed him with tears, love and deep affection. Sudama symbolizes simplicity, pure friendship, egoless devotion and innocence. Krishna did not value wealth, he valued love untouched by calculation, inner integration. The soul reaches divine consciousness not through luxury but through sincerity. Krishna's Leelas, the divine play. Krishna's life is filled with Leelas, stealing butter, dancing with gopis, lifting Govardhan, flute playing, playful mischief, wisdom amidst the war. What do Leelas signify? Life itself is divine play. Consciousness is not meant only for dry seriousness. Krishna teaches joy, spontaneity, beauty, music, love, courage, intelligence, and wisdom can coexist. Bhagavad Gita, the divine song of Lord Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the greatest spiritual books ever given to humanity. The word Bhagavad Gita means Bhagavad, divine or godly, and Gita, song, thus it means the divine song of God. It is a sacred conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the epic Mahabharata. But the battlefield is not merely a physical war. It symbolizes the inner conflict within every human being. Confusion and clarity, fear and courage, attachment and truth, ego and wisdom, illusion and awakening. Arjuna represents humanity. Krishna represents divine consciousness guiding the soul. What does the Bhagavad Gita teach? The Gita teaches humanity how to live with wisdom, how to act without selfish attachments, how to face suffering and confusion, how to control the restless mind, how to understand the soul, how to discover inner peace, how to unite with the Supreme Consciousness. Krishna teaches that man is not merely the body or the mind. The true self is eternal awareness, the Atman, the Brahman. Why is the Bhagavad Gita so important? Because it speaks to every age, every religion, every profession, every mind and every heart. A student, a scientist, monk, artist, worker, leader, mother, soldier, or a seeker. All can find guidance in it. The Gita is not only philosophy, it is practical spiritual psychology. It explains emotions, fear, desire, anger, anxiety, purpose, duty, discipline, meditation, devotion, and self-realization. Powerful teachings of Krishna. The soul is eternal. Chapter 2, verse 20. The soul is never born and never dies. It is eternal, everlasting, and ancient. Meaning, Krishna teaches that the real self cannot be destroyed. Bodies change, but consciousness continues. Why does this impact mankind? Because humanity fears death, loss, and change. Krishna removes fear by teaching that life is larger than the physical body. Perform action without attachment. Chapter 2, verse 47. You have the right to perform your duty, but not to the fruits of your actions, meaning, do your work sincerely, but do not become imprisoned by results, praise, or failure. Why does this impact mankind? Because suffering often comes from expectations and attachment to outcomes. Krishna teaches inner freedom while still living actively in the world. The mind can become friend or an enemy. Chapter 6, verse 5. The mind is the friend of one who has conquered it, but the same mind becomes the enemy of one who has failed to do so. Meaning, the uncontrolled mind creates suffering, confusion, addiction, fear, jealousy, and anger. A disciplined mind becomes a source of peace and wisdom. Why does this impact mankind? Because human civilization advances externally, yet inner confusion still exists. Krishna teaches mastery of consciousness. Whenever darkness increases, divine wisdom appears. Chapter 4, verse 7. Whenever righteousness declines and unrighteousness rises, I manifest myself. Meaning, whenever humanity loses balance, divine wisdom appears through enlightened beings, teachings, and awakening. Why does this impact mankind? Because it gives a hope that truth and light can never disappear permanently. See God in all beings. Chapter 6, verse 29. The wise see the same divine presence in all beings, meaning the same consciousness lives in all creatures. Why does this impact mankind? Because division, hatred, violence, and discrimination reduce when humanity sees unity beneath differences. The essence of Krishna's teachings. Krishna does not ask humanity to escape life. He teaches humanity to awaken within life. He teaches meditation without isolation, action without selfishness, love without possession, strength without ego, wisdom without pride, and devotion without fear. The Gita transforms ordinary living into conscious living. Spiritual symbolism in the Gita: Krishna, the supreme consciousness; Arjuna, the struggling human soul; Kurukshetra, the battlefield; the human mind and life; the chariot, the body; the horses, the senses; the reins, the mind; the charioteer, Krishna, divine wisdom guiding life. Quote, when the mind trembles in confusion, Krishna speaks as the voice of eternal wisdom within the human soul. Message: the Bhagavad Gita is not merely a religious scripture, it is a mirror for humanity. It teaches man to rise above fear, to understand consciousness, to balance emotion with wisdom, and to discover the divine presence within all existence. Krishna's teachings continue to shine because human struggles continue, and whenever confusion exists, wisdom becomes necessary. The Gita is the light of awareness, guiding humanity from inner darkness towards conscious living. The wisdom of Swami Vivekananda, the Gita wisdom and the light of understanding. There is a well-known story associated with Swami Vivekananda and the sacred Bhagavad Gita. One day, a learned man arranged many great books of literature, philosophy, science, and scriptures in a pile. At the very bottom, he placed the Bhagavad Gita, while all the other books rested above it. Looking proudly at the arrangement, he asked Vivekananda, "See, your Gita is lying beneath all these books." Swami Vivekananda smiled calmly and replied, "Yes, because the foundation always remains below, supporting everything above it." The room fell silent. He was not insulting other books. He was explaining that spiritual wisdom forms the foundation upon which higher understanding, ethics, strength, and character stand. For Vivekananda, the Gita was not merely a religious book. It was a manual of courage, self-mastery, awareness, action, and inner strength. Money or wisdom? Another time, someone questioned Swami Vivekananda, "If given a choice between wealth and wisdom, what would you choose?" Vivekananda answered in essence, "Wisdom, because with wisdom one may create wealth when needed, but wealth alone cannot create wisdom." He believed money has value when guided by character and higher understanding. Without wisdom, even great wealth may create suffering, arrogance, fear, or emptiness. The deeper meaning: Vivekananda never taught rejection of the world. He taught balance. Earn wealth honestly, serve humanity, strengthen the mind, but never forget inner awakening. Because money can buy comfort, but wisdom teaches how to live peacefully with oneself. A small reflection: a palace without foundation collapses. A mind without wisdom becomes restless even amidst luxury. Wisdom gives direction to power. Compassion gives fragrance to intelligence. That is why saints emphasized inner growth first. Quote, "Books may fill the shelves, but wisdom must awaken the soul." Money can build houses. Wisdom teaches how to build a life. The foundation always remains beneath, silently supporting everything above it. Message: read deeply, learn widely, respect all knowledge, but never lose the wisdom that teaches courage in difficulty, peace in confusion, compassion in power, and awareness in life. The greatest education is not merely information, it is the greatest transformation. The fire becomes light. The sacred story of Savitri and Satyavan. Awareness is light. Savitri. Satyavan is truth and fire with light. Fire and light, awareness and consciousness are husband and wife. Both light holding each other. Together like a flower and fragrance, fire and heat, sun and rays, song and the music. Meaning of their names: Savitri, derived from Savita, the sun. Savitri means the radiant one, the life giver, the embodiment of truth and light. She represents unwavering will, purity, and inner strength. Satyavan. Satya means truth. Satyavan means the one who lives in truth. It symbolizes sincerity, righteousness and simplicity. Together they are truth, Satya, and light, Savitri, a union of being and awareness. They are personalities and identities. Savitri, wise, composed, deeply intuitive, fearless in love and duty, not emotional weakness but conscious strength. Satyavan, gentle, virtuous, devoted son, lives a simple forest life despite royal birth. Embodiment of truth without pride. Savitri is awareness and Satyavan is truth lived simply. The marriage story. Savitri, daughter of King Ashwapati, was given the freedom to choose her husband. She chose Satyavan even after sage Narada warned Satyavan will die exactly 1 year after marriage. Yet Savitri calmly said, "Once chosen, always chosen." This is not blind love, it is clarity beyond fear. Savitri as wife, daughter-in-law, householder. Savitri enters the forest life of her husband. Her father-in-law Dumatsena, a blind exiled king, lived in the forest. Savitri serves her in-laws with devotion, lives simply without complaint, balances duty, love and awareness. She is not just a devoted wife, she is consciousness in action within worldly life. The predicted death. As the destined day approaches, Savitri observes strict fasting and meditation. She becomes inwardly alert, not fearful. She prepares not to avoid death, but to face truth fully aware. The death of Satyavan. In the forest while cutting wood, Satyavan feels weak and rests in Savitri's lap. He breathes his last. At that moment appears Yama, the lord of death. Savitri follows Yama. Yama takes Satyavan's soul, but Savitri walks behind him. Yama says, "You cannot come further." Savitri replies, "Where my husband goes, I will follow." This is not attachment. It is an alignment of truth and consciousness. The conversations with Yama. As she walks with Yama, she speaks with wisdom, humility and clarity. Yama is impressed and offers her boons, accepts Satyavan's life. She asks, vision restored to her father-in-law, kingdom restored, blessings for her own father, and finally children. Yama grants it. Then Savitri gently says, "How can I have children without my husband?" Yama realizes she has won through wisdom, not force. The climax. Yama smiles and returns Satyavan's life. Death bows before awareness. Truth is restored. Life continues. Savitri does not defeat death. She transcends it through understanding. Essence of the story. This is not just a story of a devoted wife. It is consciousness walking with truth, awareness facing death without fear, and wisdom transforming destiny. Death is not conquered by strength, but by clarity and presence. A message. Do not run from destiny, understand it. Do not fear loss, be aware within it. Do not react blindly, respond with clarity. Life tests not to break you, but to reveal who you truly are. Quote, where truth rests in awareness, even death pauses to listen. The fire becomes light. Mirabai, the flame of divine love. Birth of Mirabai. Mirabai was born around 1498 in Kudki near Merta in Rajasthan. From childhood, she carried a rare spiritual sensitivity. Legends say that when she was very young, she saw a marriage procession and innocently asked her mother, "Who will be my groom?" Her mother pointed towards the idol of Krishna and replied lovingly, "Krishna is your eternal husband." That single sentence entered her soul forever. From that day, Meera did not see Krishna as merely a deity. She experienced him as living love, breathing presence, companion, beloved, protector, and supreme consciousness itself. Krishna experience from childhood. As a child, Meera would speak to Krishna's idol as if speaking to a real person. She dressed him, sang to him, fed him, cried before him, and danced in ecstasy. For Meera, Krishna was not mythology. He was presence, awareness, eternal beauty, and conscious love. Her devotion was not ritualistic religion. It was direct inner experience. People around her saw only a stone idol. Meera saw the infinite. Marriage and the palace life. Meera was married into the royal family of Mewar to Prince Bhojraj. The palace expected royal dignity, political conduct, social obedience, worship of family deities, and strict traditions. But Meera belonged only to Krishna. Even inside the palace, she spent nights singing bhajans, meeting saints, and dissolving in divine love. The royal family feared dishonor. They believed she was neglecting royal duties, ignoring social customs, mixing with common devotees and saints, behaving like a wandering mystic instead of a queen. But spiritually, Meera had crossed worldly identity. She no longer lived as princess, she lived as Bhakti itself. Meera's Bhakti, love becoming God. Meera's devotion was not based on fear. It was based on longing, surrender, love, dissolving ego, and becoming one with the beloved. She did not pray to Krishna. She lived inside Krishna consciousness. For her, Krishna was the breath in breath, music in silence, heartbeat behind creation, beauty hidden in existence. Her bhakti became so intense that the boundary between devotee and divine began dissolving. Why did her family torture her? The royal family could not understand her spiritual madness. They blamed her for bringing shame to royal honor, dancing publicly in devotion, refusing worldly attachments, speaking openly about divine love, spending time with saints and common devotees, rejecting palace pride and power. Society often fears what it cannot control. Meera represented freedom from ego, freedom from status, freedom from social identity, and fearless love for truth. That frightened the world around her. The poison given to Meera. One of the most famous stories says Meera was sent poison disguised as holy nectar, but Meera accepted it as Krishna's prasadam. Spiritually, the poison symbolizes hatred of society, jealousy, ego, attempts to destroy love, and the testing of faith. The story says the poison could not harm her. Whether literal or symbolic, the deeper truth is divine love transforms poison into immortality. When consciousness becomes absorbed in God, fear of death disappears. The poem, The Cup of Poison. The world gave Meera poison, thinking love would die. But the heart that drinks from God cannot be destroyed. The poison became prayer, the pain became music, the tears became bhajans, and the soul became sky. For one who has dissolved in Krishna, even death forgets its name. Guru Raidas, Meera's spiritual guru. He was born in a socially oppressed leather-working community, yet became one of the greatest saints of India. He taught equality, inner purity, love over caste, direct experience of God, and devotion beyond social divisions. Meera deeply respected him. This shocked royal society because a princess accepting a saint from a lower caste as guru challenged rigid social hierarchy. But Meera saw only divine consciousness, not caste. Raidas taught God lives in every heart. His spirituality was rooted in simplicity, humility, and direct experience. Meera and Emperor Akbar. A famous legend says Akbar once secretly visited Meera disguised as a common devotee along with musician Tansen. Hearing her bhajans, Akbar was deeply moved and offered a pearl necklace at Krishna's feet. When the royal family discovered this, they became very furious because a Mughal emperor had entered the temple and honored Meera. But Meera saw only devotion, not religion, not politics, not divisions. The fire becomes light. Paramatma Tej Gayatri. Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Vishnu Gayatri. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Shri Lakshmi Gayatri. Om Mahalakshme Cha Vidmahe Vishnu Patne Cha Dhimahi Tanno Lakshmi Prachodayat. Mahadev Gayatri. Om Tatpurushaya Vidmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudra Prachodayat. Gauri Gayatri. Om Subhagayai Cha Vidmahe Kama Malinyai Cha Dhimahi तन्नो गौरी प्रचोदयात्। दुर्गा गायत्री। ओम गिरिजायै च विद्महे शिवप्रियायै च धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गा प्रचोदयात्। गणेश गायत्री। ओम एकदंताय विद्महे वक्रतुंडाय धीमहि तन्नो दंती प्रचोदयात्। ब्रह्मा गायत्री। ओम चतुर्मुखाय विद्महे हंसारूढ़ाय धीमहि तन्नो ब्रह्मा प्रचोदयात्। इंद्र गायत्री। ओम सहस्रनेत्राय विद्महे वज्रहस्ताय धीमहि तन्नो इंद्रः प्रचोदयात्। नृसिंह गायत्री। ओम नृसिंहाय विद्महे वज्रनखाय धीमहि तन्नो नृसिंह प्रचोदयात्। षण्मुख गायत्री। ओम षण्मुखाय विद्महे महासेनाय धीमहि तन्नो षण्मुख प्रचोदयात्। सूर्य गायत्री। ओम भास्कराय विद्महे महाद्युतिकराय धीमहि तन्नो आदित्य प्रचोदयात्। यम गायत्री। ओम सूर्यपुत्राय विद्महे महाकालाय धीमहि तन्नो यमः प्रचोदयात्। चंद्र गायत्री। ओम क्षीरपुत्राय विद्महे अमृततत्वाय धीमहि तन्नो चंद्र प्रचोदयात्। अग्नि गायत्री। ओम सप्तजीवाय विद्महे अग्निदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो अग्नि प्रचोदयात्। वैश्वानर गायत्री। ओम पावकाय विद्महे सप्तजिठाय धीमहि तन्नो वैश्वानरः प्रचोदयात्। वरुण गायत्री। ओम जलबिंबाय विद्महे नीलपुरुषाय धीमहि तन्नो वरुण प्रचोदयात्। पृथ्वी गायत्री। ओम पृथ्वीदेव्यै च विद्महे सहस्रमूर्त्यै च धीमहि तन्नो पृथ्वी प्रचोदयात्। सीता गायत्री। ओम जनकनंदिने च विद्महे भूमिजायै च धीमहि तन्नो सीता प्रचोदयात्। हनुमान गायत्री। ओम अंजनीसुताय विद्महे वायुपुत्राय धीमहि तन्नो हनुमान प्रचोदयात्। कृष्ण गायत्री। ओम देवकी नंदनाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो कृष्ण प्रचोदयात्। राधा गायत्री। ओम वृषभानुजाय च विद्महे कृष्णप्रियाय च धीमहि तन्नो राधा प्रचोदयात्। पांडुरंग गायत्री। ओम भक्तवरदाय विद्महे पांडुरंगाय धीमहि तन्नो कृष्णः प्रचोदयात्। देवी गायत्री। ओम वाग्देव्यै च विद्महे कामराजाय धीमहि तन्नो देवी प्रचोदयात्। महाशक्ति गायत्री। ओम सर्वसम मोहिन्यै च विद्महे विश्वजननी च धीमहि तन्नो शक्ति प्रचोदयात्। गुरु गायत्री। ओम गुरुदेवाय विद्महे सीतावल्लभाय धीमहि तन्नो गुरु प्रचोदयात्। श्रीराम गायत्री। ओम दाशरथये विद्महे सीतावल्लभाय धीमहि तन्नो श्रीरामचंद्र प्रचोदयात्। ओम श्रीनिवासाय विद्महे सच्चिदानंदाय धीमहि तन्नो श्रीसाई प्रचोदयात्। दुर्गा गायत्री। ओम कात्यायनी च विद्महे कन्याकुमार्यै च धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गा प्रचोदयात्। ओम भू ओम भुव ओम स्वः ओम मह ओम जनः ओम तपः ओम सत्यम ओम तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम ओम भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि ओम धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। अष्टलक्ष्मी गायत्री। ओम महालक्ष्म्यै च विद्महे अष्टलक्ष्मी च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात्। ओम भूर्भुवस्व तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ओम साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो सर्व प्रचोदयात्। सर्वधर्म प्रार्थना। ओम तत्सत् श्री नारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरु तु सिद्ध बुद्ध तु स्कंद विनायक सविता पावक तु ब्रह्म मज्ज तु यहोवा शक्ति तु यशु पिता प्रभु तु रुद्र विष्णु तु राम कृष्ण तु रहीम ताओ तु वासुदेव गो विश्वरूप तु चिदानंद हरि तु अद्वितीय तु अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तु आत्मलिंग शिव तु आत्मलिंग शिव तु। वैश्विक वैदिक प्रार्थना। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतम गमय। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्री साईनाथ स्तवन मंजरी। साई तुम गगन के चंद्रमा हो, मैं धरा की धूल हूँ। साई तुम हृदय के देवता हो, मैं आत्मसमर्पित फूल हूँ। साई तुम हो पूजा, मैं पुजारन हूँ। साई तुम हो ज्योत, मैं दिए की लौ हूँ। साई तुम दया के महासागर हो, मैं बस किनारे की लहर हूँ। साई तुम महासंगीत हो, मैं संगीत के अधूरे स्वर हूँ। साई तुम आत्मा हो, मैं नश्वर शरीर हूँ। साई तुम दया घन हो, मैं तो बस पानी की छोटी सी एक बूंद हूँ। साई तुम ज्ञान प्रकाश हो, मैं अज्ञानी तिमिर हूँ। साई तुम क्षमा हो, मैं भूल हूँ। साई तुम साक्षात परमात्मा हो, मैं तो बस आपके चरणों की धूल हूँ, आपके चरणों की धूल हूँ। ओम श्री साई राम। The fire becomes light. The body. The body, a bottle of divine fragrance. The body is a bottle, crafted with care, shaped with purpose. Within it rests a fragrance, subtle, unseen, yet deeply felt. This fragrance is not ordinary. It is pure consciousness, the silent presence, the love that flows through all hearts. Call it Jannat ul Firdaus, not a place but a state of purity within. The purity of fragrance. The fragrance must remain unmixed, undisturbed and unaltered. No excess, no distortion, no imitation. Because the moment it is mixed with ego, fear, greed and illusion, it loses its original essence, its fragrance. Each bottle, a unique masterpiece. Everybody is different, shape, design, capacity, but the essence within is one. Yet, in expression, each fragrance feels unique. Each presence touches differently. Same source, infinite expression. The responsibility of the vessel. The bottle must protect the fragrance, preserve its purity, express it gently into the world, not to impress but to uplift. Consciousness, the eternal perfume. Consciousness is truth, love and presence. It does not belong to one. It flows through all. One essence, many experiences. Message: do not contaminate your essence with borrowed identities. Stay clear, balanced and aware. Let your presence be a fragrance that brings peace, clarity and warmth. Quote, the body is a vessel, but the fragrance is divine. Guard it with awareness, for its purity is your true existence. The fire becomes light. Faith and belief are powerful forces within human life. They influence courage, healing, resilience, motivation, and the way the mind and body respond to experience. Science itself recognizes something called the placebo effect, where belief, expectation, hope, and trust can positively influence how a person feels, thinks, and sometimes even how the body responds. But it is important to understand clearly, faith and positive belief can support healing, strength, recovery, peace, and emotional transformation. Yet they are not replacements for necessary medical care, surgeries, medicines, or professional treatment. When those are truly needed, the deeper truth is this: the mind and the body are deeply connected. What we believe affects stress, hormones, emotions, confidence, and immunity, and even the ability to endure pain. A fearful mind weakens, a hopeful mind strengthens. Belief becomes an inner chemistry. That is why prayer can calm, trust can heal emotionally, hope can energize, and faith can help people rise during suffering. Human beings are alchemists. Spiritually, that means we can transform fear into courage, sorrow into wisdom, pain into compassion, limitations into growth, and darkness into awareness. True faith is not blind escape from reality. It is inner strength aligned with awareness. Believe deeply in life, in healing, in effort, in growth, in love, and in the possibility of transformation. But also remain wise, balanced, and grounded. Message: do not underestimate the power of belief. The human mind continuously shapes experiences. Faith is not weakness. Faith is inner participation with possibility. Hope changes the way we walk through life. Confidence changes the way we act. Awareness changes the way we understand. Believe in yourself deeply, but also walk with wisdom, clarity, patience, and responsibility. The greatest alchemy is not magic outside you. It is the transformation happening within you. A quote: belief is the invisible fire that transforms fear into strength and possibility into reality. The deepest alchemist lives within the human heart. Faith is not pretending darkness does not exist. Faith is carrying light strongly enough to walk through it.